Title of this video is The George Washington Prophecy. Uh, Personally, from the facts that are presented here that I'm about ready to read are a little bit dubious because of the fact that it was first published in 1880, long after the Civil War had ended, which ended in 1865, and it's a little overly patriotic in view of many things that are going on now, as probably as well then. Anyway, but I'll read it off here for posterity's sake, and that way at least you know about it, or you can go look it up yourself. General George Washington, Angelic Visitation at Valley Forge, and the Vision of the Future of the United States. This article is a reprint of a newspaper article first published in the National Tribune in 1859 and reprinted in 1880. Volume 4, Number 12, December 1880. Later reprinted in the Stars and Stripes newspaper owned by the National Tribune in 1931, and the latest printing on December 21st, 1950. This article is presented in its entirety by Wesley Bradshaw, by an officer who served under General Washington at Valley Forge, named Anthony Sherman. In the vision, Washington sees three great trials overtake the Union. These were the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and the greatest threat, a war fought on the soil of the United States during the time of Jesus' return to reign on the earth. It is the third battle that holds our interests as the day draws near. I don't know how sure that is, but anyway, Washington had vision of trials facing nation. For many years, copies of Washington's vision at Valley Forge, as related by one Wesley Bradshaw, told to him by Anthony Sherman, who had been in existence. The earliest publication was in 1859. 1880. In 1931 is being reprinted once more. The Stars and Stripes, December 21st, 1950. The last time I saw Anthony Sherman was on the 4th of July, 1859 in Independence Square. He was then 99 years old and became very feeble, but thought so old his dimming eyes rekindled as he gazed upon Independence Hall, which he came to visit once more. "Let us go into the hall," he said. I want to tell you all of you an incident of Washington's life, one which no one alive knows of except myself, and if you will before long see it verified. From the opening of the Revolution, we experienced all phases of fortune, now good and now evil, one time victorious, another conquered. The darkest period we had, I think, was when Washington, after several reverses, retreated to Valley Forge, where he resolved to spend the winter of 1777. I have often seen the tears coursing down our dear commander's careworn cheeks as he would be conversing with a confidential officer about the condition of his poor soldiers. You have doubtlessly heard the story of Washington's going into the thicket to pray. Well, it was not only true, but he used often to pray in secret, to comfort and to get aid from God. The interposition of those of whose divine providence brought us safely through the darkest days of tribulation. One day, I remember it well, the chilly winds whistled through the leafless trees. Though the sky was cloudless and the sun shone brightly, he remained in his quarters nearly all the afternoon alone. When he came out, I noticed that his face was a shade paler than usual, and there seemed to be something on his mind of more than ordinary importance. Returning just after dusk, he dispatched an orderly to the quarters of the officer I mentioned, who was presently in attendance. After a preliminary conversation of about half an hour, Washington, gazing upon his companion with that strange look of dignity which he alone could command, said to the latter, and this is the vision, I do not know whether it is owing to the anxiety of my mind or what, but this afternoon, as I was sitting at this table engaged in preparing a dispatch, something seemed to disturb me. Looking up, I beheld, standing opposite me, a singularly beautiful female. So astonished was I, for I had given strict orders to not be disturbed, that it was some moments before I found language to inquire into the cause of her presence. A second, a third, and even a fourth time did I repeat my question, but received no answer from my mysterious visitor except a slight raising of her eyes. But this time I had felt strange sentiments spreading through me. I would have risen, but the riveted gaze of the being before me rendered volition impossible. I essayed once more to address her, but my tongue had become useless, even though itself had become paralyzed. A new influence, mysterious, potent, irresistible, took possession of me. All I could do was to gaze steadily, vacant, at my unknown visitor. Gradually, the surrounding atmosphere seemed as though becoming filled with sensation and luminous. Everything about me seemed to be rarefied, the mysterious visitor herself becoming more airy and yet more distinct to my sight than before. I now began to feel as one dying, or rather to experience the sensations which I have sometimes imagined accompany dissolution. I did not think, I did not reason, I did not move. All were like impossible. I was conscious of gazing fixedly, vacantly at my companion. Presently I heard a voice saying, Son of the Republic, look and learn, while at the same time my visitor extended her arm eastwardly. I now beheld a heavy white vapor at some distance, rising fold upon fold. This gradually dissipated, and I looked upon a strange scene. Before me lay around me, lay spread out in one vast plain, all the countries of the world, Europe, Asia, Africa, and America. I saw rolling and tossing between Europe and America the billows of the Atlantic, and between Asia and America lay the Pacific. Son of the Republic, said the mysterious voice, as before, look and learn. At that moment, I beheld a dark, shadowy being, like an angel, floating in midair between Europe and America, dipping water out of the ocean in the hollow of each hand. He sprinkled some upon America with his right hand, while his left hand he cast some on Europe. Immediately a dark cloud raised from these countries and joined in mid-ocean. For a while it remained stationary, and then moved slowly westward until it enveloped America in its murky folds. Sharp flashes of lightning passed through it at intervals. I heard the smothered groans and cries of the American people. One thing I might add here before I go on is that this business of look and learn, it sounds like we're listening to the angels of the past and present future talking to Scrooge. The verbiage or the language sounds similar. A second time the angel dipped water from the ocean and sprinkled it out as before. The dark cloud was then drawn back to the ocean, in whose heaving billows it sank from view. The third time I heard the mysterious voice saying, Son of the Republic, look and learn. I cast my eyes upon America and beheld villages and towns and cities springing up one after another until the whole land from the Atlantic to the Pacific was dotted with them. Again I heard the mysterious voice, Son of the Republic, the end of the century cometh, look and learn. At this, the dark, shadowy angel turned his face southward, and from Africa I saw an ill-omened spectre approach our land. I'm going to have to stop here as I'm running out of time. I'll do it in the second part.